punch you don't see coming that knocks you out. In 1981, doctors in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York were seeing patients with a rare form of pneumonia, and others with a rare form of cancer called Kaposi sarcoma. These patients were getting sick and dying very quickly, and they all had something else in common. They were young gay men. These doctors started to be concerned about this pattern, so they reached out to friends in epidemiology and immunology. But as individual researchers tried to dig deeper, they hit roadblocks. A key one was homophobia, of course, but another one was funding. And this, of course, is how the AIDS crisis became a global pandemic. And the story is beautifully told in the book And the Band Played On by Randy Schilts. It's an incredible work of journalism. So on the topic of funding, Schilts writes that the Reagan administration planned to hand federal programs over to the states. So as the federal government transitioned from Carter to Reagan, the Office of Management and Budget wanted to cut the CDC budget from $327 million to $161 million. The idea was that about half of the money cut would go to the states so they could fund local public health programs. Depending on your political leanings, that might not sound like a bad idea, but the lack of federal funding makes it harder to mount a coordinated response to a public health emergency. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened with the AIDS crisis. You had individual doctors and public health professionals calling their friends around the country trying to make sense of what was happening. And of course, this is before email. Meanwhile, gay communities organized as best they could on a local level. They were trying to spread the word and keep people safe based on a very limited understanding of what the disease was, because nobody had the money to research it. It was really an admirable and courageous grassroots effort in the face of lack of funding and the total reluctance on the part of the media and the government to touch anything related to gay people. It took 4 years for the federal government to wake up and respond to the threat. By then, it was too late.